So far, what we've done is record a short audio file, and we've optimized it in preparation for using it as part of our first podcast. I realize what we've been using for the audio is only very short, but of course the principle of what we've been doing applies for longer recordings too. So imagine the audio we've used is longer, or perhaps an audio advert explaining to our intended audience news relevant to our business. Well, the next step, of course, is to convert it to the appropriate MP3 format, so that the file size will be reduced, and then we can upload to either our own website, or a WordPress-hosted blog, or even to iTunes, or in fact to any of the many audio website outlets as there are available. Well, we could do all of this manually, or if we'd prefer our software to do a lot of the work for us, then we'd choose a program such as Wavelab. Wavelab is great software for this because it has its own dedicated podcasting workspace. So that's what we're going to look at here, i.e. setting up the podcast workspace, and then take a tour of what it has to offer. And in fact, to be very accurate, this tutorial is really information about how we make the podcast available to our intended audience. Anyway, a quick way to access the specific workspace is to use the switcher bar that I've got located here. You'll see this button, once clicked on that little arrow at the bottom right, reveals these podcast workspace options. Now I'm going to choose New, seeing as we've yet to set up a podcast environment. Now, before we do anything else though, for this tutorial only, I'll quickly explain what a podcast is because, well, I need to explain it's a little more than just an audio file. The intention of a podcast is to play an audio recording to a potential audience. I think we realise that. But it's that term, potential audience, that's significant. And I say this because it determines the way in which a podcast is assembled. Essentially, the way an audio podcast is distributed is via something called RSS, short for really simple syndication. An RSS newsfeed is textual information, a message that gets sent from a specific website about a specific topic. The end user, i.e. the person wanting to listen to the podcast, will require special software, and this is generally free, or indeed certain websites run the software so the end user doesn't even need to download it. However it's done, this special software allows the end user to use his or her PC or Mac to read that RSS message, and in fact multiple messages simultaneously. Now, where a podcast differs from a simple RSS message feed is that the podcast utilizes an RSS feed and contains integrated data content, such as video or audio. Now, in our case, we'll be dealing with audio only. And in fact, once we've looked at embellishing the narration with some introductory music, we'll have a look around this podcasting workspace here in Wavelab. So I'll finish up here now that we've got this information about how a podcast links into something called an RSS feed.